You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
I always just think about someone like laying back on a couch and getting comfortable
and enjoying the show.
This British woman told me.
I want her to just do the whole show.
Yes, I was just like, so we have a British woman introducing the Michigan show.
On real estate.
Yes.
Makes no sense.
No sense, but you know what?
It works.
It's got an accent, so she must know what she's doing.
She must, right. I wish I had an accent. I'd be a lot smarter. What's up, everyone? Paul Apostolakis, Brad Weisgerber. We are Inside Real Estate. Salvatore is not with us, so I think we're going to have a really good show today. Thank you all for subscribing. Obviously, please subscribe to our podcast if you haven't. Look at all our old shows. If you think it makes sense to subscribe, you should do that. If not, go fuck yourself. But we have Beth Little today with Dwellings out of Plymouth. And so Beth has created a really good business for herself in that area. And we were just talking about earlier in the show, it's a very small, very tight-knit community. Not small, but it's kind of like people from Plymouth kind of stay in Plymouth a lot of times, right? So talk to me. First, I want to talk about how you got into the business, because that's always interesting, right? Like, what did you do? And then I kind of want to talk about your strategy and how to grow your business. So let's start there. How did you get into real estate?
How did I get into real estate? So before I got into real estate, I was a lead spa therapist at a spa in Canton.
Lead spa therapist.
Lead spa
what
therapist.
Does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that mean? That means I was a nationally certified massage therapist.
Okay.
I was a licensed esthetician.
Okay.
And I also
an esthetician?
an esthetician is skincare,
Yeah.
which we may need to talk about.
Ooh,
Damn.
bro.
Yeah.
All right.
So
All right.
yeah,
And today on
know.
skincare tips.
just a little skincare
Yeah.
tips. Hey,
Yeah.
we all got to look good in this business, man.
So you were a massage therapist, which, by the way, I think is a very noble thing, because I love getting massages and it's a very powerful thing. So why did you switch over to real estate?
Well, I was at the top of my game where I was.
Mm-hmm.
I had a 90% return retention rate. I had great clients. I was super busy all the time. But it's a very physical job. And I was starting to, get some carpal tunnel in my hands. And I had to start thinking, okay, I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life.
Right.
So what's plan B?
What's the exit strategy? Right?
What's my exit strategy? So I really loved what I did, and I love my clients. And I was very good at customer service, making people feel comfortable in stressful situations,
Yeah.
handling people's emotions and whatnot. It was my job for years. And I was very good at it.
Right.
So my husband and I lived in Redford for a long time. We couldn't move out because of the crash, and we finally had enough where we could get out of Redford and move.
Perfect.
So we hired a friend of ours, mom, who did real estate, and she was great. She maybe didn't sell the house like how I would have sold the house,
right.
And then the buyer's agent we had for our house, she was just terrible. And I ended up, taking over a lot of stuff. I actually ended up doing research on the house and kind of taking control of the situation. It fascinated me. And I'm just like, how much money am I paying her?
Right.
And I'm like, I could do this better.
Yeah.
So,
there you go. Okay.
And I did.
There you go.
So, and
you are very modest. All right. I like this. Yeah. Perfect.
So I decided, okay, I'm going to start getting into real estate. So I, started researching it, which is what I do. I'm a little vary on that particular aspect.
Yeah.
So I did my research. I, took a week off of work, got my, it's 40 hours in the C+. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
So.
And a C+, you're right.
40 hours in the
By
C+.
the way, everybody that's listening, you just need a C+ to pass.
You just need a C+ to pass.
Right.
It's a pass or fail kind of thing. It's not like maybe you did really good or you just passed at the skin of your teeth,
Right.
Lamar George.
It really totally gets you ready to be a real estate agent too.
Yes.
No, it does not. So got my license, and then I started researching brokerages after that. And unfortunately, the job I was at did not want me to stay because they were very upset that I was leaving. So.
Oh, okay. They were like, no moonlighting, right?
No moonlighting. I'm just like, wow, what I'm doing has nothing to do with my current job. But they were just like, no, you're dead to us now. So,
no way.
So I left and just started in real estate full time. So
you went full time.
I did.
Yeah. When was this?
This was November of 2016.
Okay.
Is when that happened. I left my job in December of 2016. So I'd say, January of 2017 would be my first time. So like I said, I researched a lot of things, and obviously starting out, it's hard to get leads because nobody wants to work with you when you're new.
Right.
Like, let me entrust you with my giantest purchase of my life. Oh,
And
have you never done this
yeah.
before? I totally want to hire you. No. So you just have to fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I chose a brokerage, Metropolitan Real Estate Group, out of downtown Plymouth, and they were great. They worked with Quicken Loans, and they provided.
Mine on the group, yeah.
It was what is it? It was in-house realty, but now it's Rocket
Rocket Homes.
Rocket Homes now.
San Vito, what up?
And so I started there and, took the leads, from Quicken Loans. And so basically my first year was Quicken Loan leads, Zillow leads, and some sphere of influence. And I ended up, I think, selling 32 houses and $6.5 million.
Wow,
Nice.
that's pretty good numbers right off the bat.
So I did that, and
So the audience understands. So Quicken has this thing called Rocket Homes,
Mm-hmm.
and what they'll do is they'll give you leads basically to work as a real estate agent. You do give up some of your commission when you do it, right? They do take a cut.
oh, they take a nice cut.
Yeah, they take a nice cut. But a lot of people have success with it because they can sell a lot of houses and they don't mind getting the cut taken, right? There's always a value, right? Like you've got to play that game. Like, is this worth doing? A lot of people use Rocket Homes and they, but ultimately you have to use Quicken for the financing, right?
You have to, yes.
Yeah.
And that's
Which is kind of like weird, right? If you think about it, because legally, like it's like they're making you use a lender, right? I don't even think that's legal.
well, they can't stop you from switching lenders
Right,
after.
they right, exactly.
You still have the right. You always have the right
Yeah,
to
always
choose
have
your
the right,
lender,
right.
but they would strongly prefer you stay with Quicken.
Okay, so you did that the first year and you did well.
And I did well the first year. And like I said, I love Metropolitan Real Estate Group. Nothing but great things to say about them.
Sure.
But the commission split was not the best.
Right.
And to be fair, when you're handed leads, what do you expect? Somebody's got to make their money off
Exactly,
of it.
yeah.
As far as that goes. And then I also, like I said, I'm a little vary. So I don't like not knowing something.
Yeah.
So I went and got my seller's representation certification, my ABR certification, my real estate negotiation expert certification. I got my pricing
Holy shit.
strategies advising certification.
You went ham on the certifications.
I did. I
Yeah.
was just like, I got to know it all. So I got it all.
Yeah.
Because again, it's your first year in real estate. If I have all these nice certifications after me, I look like I know what I'm doing a little
Sure.
bit more. So that was my strategy.
Yeah.
And again,
I don't look like I know what I'm doing at all.
No, you don't. You look horrible. So you're okay. You after your first year, you're seeing some success. You're understanding the business. You're getting these certifications. Now you decide to move to a different brokerage.
yes.
Okay, and is that when you went to Dwellings?
Yes, I went to Dwellings, I think March of 2018
Okay.
was when I moved. So, I was doing well and I'm doing to the networking events, Women's Council Realtors, you got brokerages.
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to hit you up like Tinder kind of thing.
See a lot of
And,
Tinder music, yeah.
And,
yeah.
I interviewed and I liked what Dwellings was doing as far as how they sell homes, which is how I wanted to sell homes. That was my philosophy before,
Right.
Like I pay for staging. I pay for a professional photographer. I pay for a 3D Matterport tour. I'll pay for aerial photos if I need to. If my seller won't do it, I'll get your house deep cleaned
Yeah.
because I'm not wasting my time.
You're selling the house.
I got skin in the game.
Yeah.
I'm getting the house sold.
That's
So,
smart. So you're going to do what it takes to sell the house, which is so a lot of people, that list houses in today's world. Some people just don't do much, and you'll see pictures of someone taking a picture in the bathroom, and they're in the background, like
They're in the mirror. You can see
you know
them
what I
with
mean?
the cell
Like,
phone.
and in today's world, like marketing a property properly is really the really important, right?
It's essential. If you want to get top dollar for that house, sometimes in some markets it's like shooting a fish in a barrel. Like I could just be lazy and take like 12 photos on my cell phone, stick a sign in, and I might get multiple offers.
But what's your value at that point?
But that's kind of the thing. But there's a lot of properties that struggle. I can give you examples later of people who fired their agent, hired me, and lo and behold, I got it sold the next week. So
Yeah.
it all just depends. Everybody starts looking for a house online. So
Always.
if you are not presenting that house as the most beautiful thing that somebody wants online,
Mm-hmm.
what value do I add?
Yeah. So I think a lot of agents unfortunately miss the marketing aspect of it. And a lot of people don't. So if I'm selling a house, right, and someone comes in and says, okay, yeah, I'm going to sell your house. And all they do is put a sign in the front yard.
They're not really selling a house at that point.
No, they're listing it is what they're doing, right? That's all they're doing. And if in today's world with how competitive it is, and to your point, your online presence and how you present immediately people will be on or off, right? They're either going to get interested or not. And pictures are a big part of that, and marketing and the wording, and also having all this other ancillary stuff around it to get traffic is really what you want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The more people that see the house, the more chances multiple people will want it. And, it's always got to be the buyer's idea to pay more.
Yeah.
So if it's their idea to pay more and they really want it, they'll do it.
Right. So you saw an opportunity.
That's true.
Very true. You saw an opportunity to add value. So you were looking for ways to add value. And what's my value proposition going to be? And you actually gravitated towards the marketing side.
Yes, absolutely. Well, again, that's why I chose dwellings in the way that they market the properties, how they do things, the resources that they had. They also have really good training. Plus my split was good.
It was
and
good.
that was
So you
what
got
I was looking for.
Yeah.
So, and then when I switched, that was hard because I had a lot of my leads handed to me. So now I had to figure out how to do it.
Now you had to
myself.
be referral based, right?
So
So let's talk about that, because a lot of agents have this problem, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with working leads. Personally, I think you come in, it's a great way to get going in the business.
Sure.
I don't believe that relying on leads your whole career is going to give you a real career.
Mhm.
It's going to be tough because you can build some referral networks and whatnot through the lead systems, but ultimately, if you can just come in and plug in and call 100 leads and get a deal out of it, you can do that, but
It's not sustainable.
I don't think it's sustainable either.
No, that
One,
sucks
it's not
out my
sustainable.
soul.
Yeah.
It will suck your soul out, and it's very time
You're gonna
consuming.
hate your life.
A lot of follow up. So how did you start building a network?
Well, I kept in touch with a lot of my past clients. So like one thing I do every year is I put together a really nice calendar on the holidays that has all my information on it. And I send that out. So I'm always on somebody's fridge.
Yeah.
So that they
Like it
constantly-
sounds
Sports Illustrated calendar.
That's right.
Well,
That's awesome.
12 months of Beth.
yeah,
you know?
all Beth, right?
All Beth all the time.
It's Christmas. Beth is wearing a Santa hat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of calendar.
Yeah,
Those
it's a
cost more.
much different kind of calendar. So you just started marketing towards your past clients.
Yeah, marketing towards past clients. I'm a premier agent on Zillow. Sometimes you gotta, be in bed with the devil.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also too, I did a lot of open houses. And so when I do a lot of open houses and I get a chance to actually meet people face to face, which I feel like I do best with,
Yeah.
they see that, hey, I'm a real person. I can provide value. And
Yeah.
I picked up a lot of clients from that, past client referrals, referral networks.
You know what's funny, Brad? You can tell, right? Like if Beth walked into an open house and you're maybe thinking about buying a house, I can see Beth just being like, I want to work with this chick.
Yeah.
Just which is I think like 90% of the thing. It's like you can't be like a really shitty human and like people want to work with them, right?
Absolutely.
And you can't be fake or like unauthentic. Like people just want to work with good people, and I think if you're a good person in this world, you'll get business just from that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, and you got to have some hustle too.
Oh, yeah. Don't
Right?
trust me. I worked my ass off last year.
Yeah,
I mean, and I didn't have a transaction coordinator or an assistant. And I sold 52 homes and 10.8 million.
52 homes.
52
So
homes.
that's a
Wow.
pretty quick rise to 10 million. That's pretty fast. So you attribute that most of that just from you just getting out there and talking to people.
Yeah, I would say talking to people because, I think, okay, how did I get, I had some of it, again, with Zillow, open houses, past client referrals, sphere of influence.
Yeah,
I would say all of that makes the,
it seems like it came pretty naturally to you, though.
like I said, there's not too much difference between real estate as far as handling. It's all an emotion based,
Yeah.
Obviously, there's legal logistics, which I have to memorize and know on my game, but we're dealing with emotions. A buyer wants to buy a house because they love it and they feel it, and then they have to be love it enough to be willing to pay more for it or walk away from it. Or a seller, you have to help a seller emotionally distance themselves from a house.
Yeah,
So
That's
that's
not
where,
easy.
yeah.
It's
Well,
not,
that's why when I come in, I start telling them, which is why staging is so important because it's a psychological thing. So when we come in, I need you to start decluttering, and
Yeah.
I need you to start, and this is the reason we do staging, we need to make it how a buyer can see themselves in it.
So let's talk about that. I think that's really interesting because when we were looking for a house, you'd walk into a house, right? And they had cats, and they had pictures of Aunt Tilly everywhere, and there was like cat hair in places. I went to one house where the dog was locked up in the mud room, and the dog was barking. And it's like I want to get the fuck out of here, dude. Like it was around Halloween, and people had weird decorations up, and I was like, I got it. It smelled funny, right? You walk into a house,
Smells are huge.
yeah. Immediately when you walk in a house, you are like, I can't live here,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
No matter what, no matter how nice the house is,
You have zero chance at that point.
zero chance.
First
like,
impression is huge.
Huge. So when you like have a consultation, what do you like? You walk in a house and you're like, shit, this smells pretty bad in here. I mean, how do you have that conversation?
I can see her just bluntly saying it. It smells like shit in here.
yeah,
We gotta fix
I
this.
am a little blunt.
Perfect.
So, you
yeah,
know,
that's how you should be.
well, again, you're not hiring me to make you feel good.
Yeah.
You're hiring me to sell an asset for the absolute most money that I can.
That's
And I'm
yeah.
going to tell you how to do that.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, we have to have our little come to Jesus moment of you hired me, you're paying me this much. No, I'm not going to discount my commission
Right.
because I do A, B, and C. And
Right.
if you want to have a discount agent, that's totally up to you. You can take 12 photos and
Right.
put it up on the MLS and not tell you do anything.
Yeah.
But this is what I do and this is why I do it. And I come in and we go through the tour and I'm like, tell me about your house and updates that they've done. And I take a lot of notes and we go through and, you know, I get to know like what their why is, like why are you moving? What's your next stage? That kind of thing. How serious are you? Or are you just trying to figure out what your house is worth? Which is a whole nother subject.
Yeah. Pricing the
that.
house right. Yeah.
It's all subjective.
Yeah.
All subjective.
It's all subjective.
And then I come in and then we sit down and I'll be like, sometimes I'll have my iPad Pro and I'll show you, hey, here's if I feel they're more engineer types, then I'll bring statistics. If I feel that they are more emotion types, I'll bring photos and tell stories.
Yeah, yeah,
So it all
yeah.
depends on what, how I'm going in.
How you
If
gonna
they're-
resonate,
If they're
how you gonna
really like
communicate,
closed
yeah.
off and defensive, like
Know your
you know,
audience.
Yeah.
then I play it however. But I'm always blunt. Like, look, this is what buyers are looking for. This is what I do. You know, my stage routine is going to come in and, you know, she's even more of a heavy than I am and tell you to put this stuff away. And
Yeah.
your house is beautiful and it reflects you. However, we're trying to make it so a buyer will love it. And then I'm trying to keep saying, like, this is where we can get the most money or sell it fast. Like, what's their motivation? Do they want to sell it fast or do they want the most money? You know, sometimes it's
Well, you're doing discovery. You're trying
they're
to
just
figure
doing
out.
discovery. But
Yeah.
yes, if it smells, I'm going to be like, unfortunately, we're going to have to address this.
Yeah.
Or no, we're going to have to get these carpet cleaned. Or no, we're going to have to paint these rooms.
Right.
And I try to give them two prices. I'm like, you don't want to do any of these things? Fine, you don't have to do them. It's
You know what I
your
like
house.
what you're saying, Beth, is like you don't operate from a place of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times, even in our business, Brad, in
Scared
mortgages,
you're gonna lose the deal.
people are so afraid to tell people what they need to know because they're afraid to like hurt the opportunity to get the deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that like you need to like you got to tell them what they need to know. Now, if they end up working with you or not, that's cool, right? But at least you gave them the information the right way and the way they need to know. A lot of people, to your point, will come in and say, "You want to list your house for $300,000? Okay, but it's really worth $280,000, right? You only want to pay 2% commission? Yeah, I'll do whatever, right?" And people are playing from a position of fear. But what I like that you said is you don't discount your commission because you feel like you add enough value that it's worth it, right?
Absolutely.
That's the difference. It's like how much value are you providing? If I'm just going to put a sign in your front yard, I'm not going to feel right taking 3% or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like, we obviously can't, all commission is always negotiable and you can't say, no, all realtors charge this, but you know, it's usually 6%. I
Yeah.
don't charge any more than the 6% that normally anybody else does.
Right.
I know there's some other brokerages that charge more than that if they want
They can
the same
yeah.
services
They
that
can?
With like different
you
fees.
can charge
yeah.
whatever you want.
Yeah, there's
If I wanted to charge 10% to list a house,
It's
I
all
could.
contract, dude. It's whatever you negotiate.
Yes, it's
I
everything.
never knew that.
Everything's negotiable, dude.
Everything is
That's why you have a
negotiable.
purchase agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I
Well,
just
welcome to
have
the
to
game,
blow.
buddy. Yeah, welcome to real estate. So it's just typical to do 6%. To her point, like if you do like Open Door and these other companies, they're charging way more than 6% when you add all the fees together, which is crazy. But yeah, so like I like what you're saying. I love the fact that you're just telling people how it is, but you're very confident. Where did you get the confidence from? Because to be fair, you're relatively new as a
yeah,
real estate agent.
absolutely.
You did 10 million, which is a lot, right? For a
Well,
second.
10.8.
Okay,
if we
my
could
bad,
be a
dude.
little more
My bad.
specific.
Let's call it 11
I
million.
lost one house. It would have been 11.
Yeah, whatever. So 11 million, right? You get, which is very, very impressive, especially coming into year 2 or 3, right? That is very, very good. So I bet you it's a lot to do with your personality and how you handle people in your bedside manner, really, right?
Yeah, well, that is all real estate as far as that goes. Sometimes, I'm not always the most confident, but somebody is hiring me to do a service.
Yeah.
So I better look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not doing my job if I'm like, saying, oh, I don't know, or maybe,
Yeah.
So I always come in with confidence, but it's still always my client's decision. So when a buyer's like, oh, well, how much should I offer? I'll be like, look, here are your options, but ultimately the choice is yours.
It's up to you what you want to do. But this is what I would do. That's very good,
Yes,
smart.
I'm here to educate and advise. I'm not here to make a decision for
Ultimately,
you.
it's up to you. Yeah.
Because if I make a decision for you and then you don't like it, guess who gets blamed?
Yeah, it's you. Yeah, it's
Me.
ultimately it's your. Yeah, right.
Yep. Same with the sellers too. Like, here's the offers, and I go over and I usually make a spreadsheet and say, you know, A, B, and C. Here's the benefit of this. But you never know what's the motivation of the seller. Is money the motivation, or do they really want an owner occupant who's going to love the house like they do, or you know, like they can't, you know, discriminate based on age, section, religion, that kind of thing. But it's still up to them.
Yeah.
Who they choose.
So what's your business look like if we took a snapshot last year? What percentage was listings and what percentage were buyers?
I would say probably a third listings, 2/3 buyers.
Okay.
So I was definitely a little bit more heavy on the buy side. I'd obviously like to go more onto the listing side, depending. I don't know. Sometimes listings are much more of a pain in the ass.
Really? In what way?
There's a lot of organization that has to get done in order to make a house ready. So I need to organize stager, photo, cleaners, sometimes movers, sometimes staying on top of the seller to get things done. You know, I'm not afraid I go into the house a lot and I check on it, and especially before something's done, and I'll be calling them out like, hey, you guys didn't do this. Unfortunately, we can't move forward until you get this done. Like, you know, there was some stuff.
That's awesome.
There's some stuff that, you know, like, and sometimes I'll have to do it. Like, there was a house I listed in Ferndale, you know, dumbass dude, you know, I'm selling his house and I'm like, you got to get it clean. I had it cleaned. My stager shows up. This place is a dump.
Yeah.
So, and we were on a tight schedule and I knew he was out of town. So I ran over and you know what? I cleaned that house for 2 hours and I got that shit done.
Yeah.
And Tina got her shit done and my photos were done and I got that bitch listed. So there we go. So sometimes I got to get in it to get it done, you know? You know, I've had to rake leaves or, you know, I don't always want to have to do that, but I'm going to do what I have to get it done.
You're selling something and you're putting your name on it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. Who do you use for staging?
Tina Camaro, she's in the top producers as well.
I think we had her on the show. I think. Yeah, right?
Yeah, Tina's awesome.
Yeah, she does a really good job. That's interesting. So, okay, so you're rolling now, right? I noticed that you have your own website. Now you're starting to kind of market yourself, right? So talk to me about where you are now in your career and what what your strategy is to kind of from here. Like, what are you going to do? You know?
Well, last year was really good, but it was very, very stressful. So what I'm trying to do is streamline my business a little bit more. So I might be maybe a touch slower in the start, but that I expect it to pick up later just because now I have a transaction coordinator and my website should be actually done. I mean, it's done, but it's not done. I have a marketing guy who's scrubbing me on Google and making sure all my search stuff comes up and just making sure that everything is all set.
So I want to talk to you about that because this is a big point for me. Not many agents have their own website. A lot of people just use their Keller Williams or whatever it is website, right? They don't really own their data. They don't own their SEO. They're not searchable, right?
No, I don't allow that.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I was talking to an agent the other day and he's like, hey, like, so what do you think I should do? I go, look, dude, Google homes for sale. What comes up? Not one real estate company comes up. It's all mortgage and Zillow.
Zillow, Trulia.
Right. There's not one real estate agent that pops up. Not one Keller Williams. Not Remax. Nothing comes up. Right.
Well, my goal is when you start Googling that stuff that my name starts.
So what made you
up.
decide to do that? Because that's very forward thinking. The digital era, right? Having a presence on there. And it's just such not part of what real estate agents do in this world today.
Well, if I had my phone on me, it would be, well, look at me, my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's got their phone on them.
Right.
So they're looking and they're going to Google me, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of competition. I've only been doing this 3 years. There's
Right.
some big dogs out there, obviously.
Yeah.
So if I want to stay looking good, then I got to be right there when you see, and somebody wants to know about me.
Right.
Well, you go to my website and it's about me.
Right.
So you would like meet Beth, and it gives my bio and my picture and all my certifications and my reviews and
Yeah, it's your resume, basically, right?
it's in my resume, so
Yeah.
somebody can check that out. You know, like nobody's going to search for homes on my website. Come on,
No,
they're going to be.
They're going there to see who you are.
They're going to see who I am. They're
Yeah.
going to go to Zillow and all the other stuff to
Yeah.
search for a house. So there's no point in having IDX on my website. That
Agreed.
is stupid.
Agreed.
So it's basically just, you know, and I have some information articles like buyer articles and seller articles and
You're adding value.
Yeah, blog stuff. Like, where can I go to, oh, this is a great article on things I need to do to prep my house to sell or something like
Do
that.
you have before and afters of some of your listings, like on your website? Like,
Need to, and
that'd be
I really,
awesome.
that's kind of my goal next year is I have to start taking some before and afters of how I transform houses sometimes.
That'd
before.
be cool.
So,
Yeah.
so I've got my marketing guy doing that, and that should be all scrubbed and ready to go on the 14th. And
What made you
then,
decide to go that route? I'm just curious. Like, what was it?
research. I research a lot,
Yeah.
and I read a lot, and that's just it's just what makes sense. Like, I could keep. I mean, obviously, I love referrals, and I love my past clients. And I'm going to keep touching base with my past clients and asking for referrals and that kind of thing because it's always a nice to have that warm touch. But even from my Zillow profile, gosh, there was one time last year I had somebody, just a guy called me up, say, hey. I saw you online, and can you come and take a look at my house in Plymouth?
Yeah.
And I did, and it was a gorgeous, like $350,000 house, and he hired me, and we sold it, and that was just off of my
Just your online presence.
online
That's
presence,
awesome.
and so that's my goal. Is I will get more calls from my online.
Do you do a lot of social too?
Social networking?
Social media. I'm sorry.
Oh, social media.
Yeah.
I'm not the best at it, but I'm getting better.
Yeah.
And then that is also my goal as I'm moving forward is to, have a lot more like landing page lead ads from for buyers and sellers from Facebook. I just started with Instagram.
The Instagram, I just don't understand the Instagram person, but I got to get better at it.
Oh, I mean, I'm also, I know it's hard to believe, but I'm actually usually pretty introverted. And if it were up to me, I would not be on social media at all.
Yeah, but you can't be in this business.
But
really.
I can't. So
Yeah.
I have to,
Yeah,
again,
you're doing
fake
a
it till you
fucking
make
podcast. You'll be all right.
All right.
Yeah.
My podcast,
You're
damn
busy,
it.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So, okay, so your strategy this year is to kind of just increase your online presence, create more help around you so you can do more.
Yes.
Which is a big step because a lot of people are we see this a lot, Brad. It's like sell Brad. People are afraid to like hire someone in because it's going to cost them money.
Yes.
Right. And it's always like
A lot of people, they have a hard time understanding the value of the service,
Yeah.
right? They don't get it.
Yeah.
Like everyone looks at Zillow anyway. Why don't I just put it on Zillow,
yeah,
right? Why don't I list it myself?
Mhm.
They don't understand it. And that turns people off to even have that first conversation to list their house, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't understand, why am I calling you? I already know it's going to cost me a shitload of money. So why do I even have that conversation? So how do you break through that? How do you get, do you have people that call like for sale by owners to try to
I don't
get those
usually
listings?
approach for sale by owners
They're a different animal.
because,
because you're right off the bat they want a discount.
Yeah.
they want a discount or, what are you going to do for me and that kind of thing. Let's see. Well, the guy that actually, he was a past client. That I was just referring to how I had to clean his house. He did actually try to sell his house for sale by owner
Mhm.
on Zillow for like 60 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a shit show.
Yeah.
So he finally, again, I was on his fridge
Yeah.
from them. And he's like, and the reason another reason I won't ever go after for sale by owners is there are agents that'll hunt them down. He said there were people knocking on my door.
Yeah.
He got these pre-printed books. He
Yeah.
got phone calls. He got emails. He was just like,
Yeah.
he must have been inundated by like 20 agents hunting
Yeah.
after him.
So
for
if the
his
audience
house.
is listening, anybody that's thinking about doing for sale by owner, be prepared to be like a chum in water with 500 sharks. You're gonna
Yes.
like people
Seriously.
just see that you're selling it for sale by owner. You're gonna get all these calls. Hey, I see your house is up for sale by owner. Did you know that I could? It's like shut up.
Oh
Yeah,
no, the
shut up.
thing is like I have a buyer
Yeah.
that wants to
Yeah.
take a look at
Yeah.
your
Oh,
house, and
yeah.
then you're gonna let you in. I'm like, well, this might not work for them, but this is what I can do for you. It's
Yeah.
that and expired leads.
Yeah.
So
Expired. Yeah,
when
same
as
thing,
soon as
yeah.
your house goes expired, there's
But some people make a living off of it. You know what I
Hey.
mean? There's so many different ways to skin a cat, and like if you are actually good, I mean, it's just
it's got to be your personality.
It's got to
and
be
it's
your
not
person.
mine.
Yeah, it's got to be what you're into. And some people are really good at it and they can do it respectfully, but some people like our business is just full of a lot of shitheads.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it just
So
happens.
I would like to create a good marketing and reputation so somebody wants to call me and work with me
Mm-hmm.
instead of me having to try to continually convince them to work with me.
Yeah. So
It's
what kind of things are you doing now to help your own personal brand? Right? Is it just what you're saying, like online marketing and that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Are you getting
online
out there and meeting people in the community? Like, what kind of stuff are you doing as far as that goes?
I haven't done too much community stuff. Frankly, just due to my schedule.
You're too busy.
I
Yeah.
just sometimes I just don't have time. I mean, I
Yeah.
have a 9-year-old daughter and a husband And
You have a 9-year-old daughter.
yes,
Okay.
and so I have to do this full time.
And a husband. You threw
and
that
I
in
have a
there.
husband
Thanks.
too. Yeah.
We need help too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I gotta be a mom and a wife,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
still, I try to work out 6 days a week and eat healthy and also cook, and
Yeah.
then I have to, bills and laundry and all the other kind of
Yeah.
things. So sometimes but I would like to get a little bit more involved with the community as well.
Yeah.
But right now it's online marketing stuff. I do social events like
The real producer
the
stuff.
real producer stuff. I used to be in the Women's Council of Realtors, but I just don't have.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
I just got to find more time.
Yeah,
So,
that's the thing, and that's why you're hiring. That's what I was going to get to is some people are always very afraid to hire more help when they're successful because they're like it's going to cost me money, and
they're not going to do it as good as me.
Right, and nobody will ever do it as good as you. But if they can do 80% as good as you, and you can do 100 other things, it's like you shouldn't be like doing the like busy stuff if you're really talented at getting more business.
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Well, in real estate is unfortunately you just got to pay to play.
Yeah,
I don't hesitate in investing in myself.
Yeah.
So some agents be like, I don't have the money right now. Well,
well,
you got to.
can't afford not to
You
in
can't
this
afford
world.
not to. You just
right?
got to like pony it up, make it happen.
It's
Like,
hard because you got to put this money out there before it comes in because you're not going to have the results. But if you don't do it, you're not going to. You know what I mean? It's like which one do you do? We have the same problem, right? We're going to hire this person. They're going to cost X, but you can't really afford it. But if we had them, maybe we could have. But like you got to figure that out. So that's interesting. You know what I think is awesome is I think you've done this for a short period of time. You've got a really good head on your shoulders, and you've really got a good vision. And what I always hear all the time from agents is like, I've been doing this 30 years. Nobody gives a shit about your 30 years, dude.
No.
Because what you're talking about right now is things that you've done in the last 2 years that are very innovative and you're working on different things. You're creating a website. I've been in this business for 30 years. I do mailers. And then like, that's what you hear. And like, it's like, you're not evolving then, right? Because only thing that matters is the last 6 months or a year because everything's changed.
Yeah,
right?
you've been doing it 30 years, but you only sell like 2 to 3 houses a
Yeah,
year.
congrats, dude. Yeah.
Good job. So,
Yeah. I hear that a lot in our
Gold
business.
star.
Yeah, dude. Like nobody cares how long you've been doing this. Like I don't care. Like even me, like I've been doing it forever, but like
But to
everything changes.
to the opposite point, though, nobody likes to hear. Yeah, I just got my license 6 months ago.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have.
Yeah.
But that I would rather.
But you don't say that.
I'll be honest with you. Like if I was selling my house, I'd rather have a really hungry,
Yes.
1 year, like
Absolutely.
really young and fresh mind that's like really going after it, as opposed to like, well, I've been doing this 30 years. My name is Bob Johnson, and I put my
I put my face in your front.
yeah.
yard.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows why. I'm like, shut
As long as that first year agent has a strong broker that can help them with contracts
you
and
do need,
negotiations.
you need
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's the
So-
truth, yeah. And you know what's funny? A lot of people today, when they go to buy a house, they're like, "Why should I hire a realtor?" Like I'm like because like ultimately, agents don't find houses for people anymore, right? It's going to be on Zillow before that you see it even sometimes, right? So they're going to find the house more than likely themselves. But like for me, it's like you're there to help them negotiate. You're protecting them, right?
Yes.
There's an actual legal contract. There's title work. There's appraisals. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to buying a house. It's not finding the house. A lot of people think the real estate agents are there to find the house. It's not the case anymore,
No.
right?
No, I mean, I try to tailor a search when I can, but buyers are liars. You just like, I want all this, so I tailor it. I found this on Zillow, and
It's
like I thought you didn't want I thought you wanted a
Yeah.
basement. Okay, fine, let's go look at it. It's
I want to
cool.
buy in Plymouth. They find a house in Howell, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's just how
Yeah.
it is. And it's like herding cats. It really is. And I always like try to provide the value because it's like, and also I feel like, it's like wrestling an alligator sometimes. It's just like you can't trust anybody to do their job sometimes because like I have to I'll harass the lender, no offense.
Yeah.
I'll have to call the processor personally if something's not happening. I mean, I'm not afraid to get in there.
Yeah.
Title's not doing their job. Why isn't this done yet?
Yeah.
If I have to talk to the other agent, if I have to what else have I done? I've had to run documents.
There's a
on
ton
the
of
other
things
side.
you got to do. There's title issues. There's liens. There's like a million things that you are involved in, right?
Mhm.
And to your point, like you're the general. You're kind of like you're the maestro. By the way, she said herding cats and
Yeah, I thought she meant
wrestling.
herding cats. Like,
Herding,
like
and then
physically herding them.
No, herding.
Yeah,
herding.
that's why.
And then
it took me a
wrestling
second.
alligators.
Do you like to
I'm a
herd
little-
cats?
no,
Is this
that's why I
something
was
you need
like,
to talk
what are we
about?
talking
We're on that's a whole different show,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, you're talking about skinning cats. She's talking about herding
We
cats.
were talking about animals a lot. PETA's going to be calling us. Yeah, we're fucked. So yeah, I mean, you're right. There's a lot of value that the real estate and people that buy houses don't even realize they're being hired and you're getting paid by the seller anyways, right? So get the best fucking agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're buying a house. That's interesting. So what do you think about as far as having a good team around you, right? Like you mentioned the lender, you mentioned title. Are you very cognizant of the people that you work with?
Absolutely. I cannot do my job and be successful if I do not have a team. And that is hands down. If I don't have, like, talk to, if I don't have a title company that I know that's going to go above and beyond for me.
Yeah.
If I don't have a lender that's going to go above and beyond for me. If my
Right.
home inspector, and it doesn't stop from there. My Tina, my stager, or my photographer who's going to drop everything and make sure that I get my photos done in time. My handyman, my plumber, my electrician, I have all these people that I trust to recommend because people are coming to me for advice. Like, oh, I don't know what to do. But like, look, I got a guy.
Talk to them. Yeah.
Talk to my guy. We'll get this taken care of. So my job is to provide solutions. So anytime there is a problem, I need to have a solution. And so I'm very particular about my team. So everybody who's on my team, if you're not going to do what I
Can't be part of
expect,
the team,
then you're not part of the team. So that's just,
you have high standards,
Yes.
right? So I think a lot of young agents kind of forget the importance of having the right people around them. Like I've talked to a lot of younger agents and they're like, I'm like, who do you use for X? And like, oh, I just whoever, every buyer comes to me with a pre-approval already, but it's like through Bank of America or Chase and every transaction's fucking horrible. And I'm like, well, why don't you find a good partner? Like, because it's really important to have a good partner. Because no matter how good you are as an agent, if that client has a bad experience on the title side or the mortgage side or the homeowner's insurance side, it's going to reflect on the whole process, and they're going to leave the transaction not feeling great.
No, and it's always going to be my fault no matter
Always.
what.
Yep.
So
Always.
it's
Always.
always going to be my fault.
Always.
There's
And
two
so
main people they talk to: the loan officer and the real estate agent. It's
Yep.
going to be their fault.
Always.
Always.
It's no
matter who broke them.
Yeah, and if you refer someone and they use them and they fuck you, you're going to look like an asshole.
Yeah.
exactly.
Right? Yeah. So it's very important. Any young agents out there that are listening, and I don't care what it is, you need a good team around you. You need to pick good people and make sure that you're providing a lot of value. And it doesn't have to be just one person, but I guess the whole thing is, it's like if I'm going to have a client come to me and trust me with my word and I give them someone, they better perform.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Because it's my reputation that is on stake. And that's another thing I like to tell new agents. So like you walk in and you rely on your brokerage for a lot of things. Like, oh, here's the vendor list from my brokerage.
Yeah.
That's great. You can go with a vendor list from your brokerage, but I don't like to work with people that I know aren't going to refer me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, of course. Yeah, it's got to be,
build your own team. Go out and start networking with plumbers and electricians and handymen and whatnot. Build a relationship with
network.
them.
Yeah.
Take them out for a beer. Make sure that you're building this response so that they look at you as a friend and you're friends, but you're also business partners, and you know that they're going to not only going to get the job done, but if they're working on a house and somebody says, I'm really thinking about selling it, like, hey, you know what? I've got this great agent that I work with all the time. She refers me a bunch of stuff. I'm going to refer you. But if they're on a vendor list, of course they're going to go straight to the brokerage.
create your own network.
Create your own network.
That's
these
so
people
huge.
want you. I
Yes.
mean, it's just like you don't understand. Like, it's like
And it doesn't have to be like a dirty, like a lot of time people think networking is like this like chachi thing. Like, hey, we're going to go get a beer, and like, it's like becomes a sales.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, just go hang out with a bunch of people and work with people you like. You know what I mean? Ultimately,
Absolutely.
just work with people you like and you'll have a much better career. I used to do that when I was like young in the business. I was like, oh, I just want to work with someone like really bad. And like, no matter what a piece of shit they were, I'd be like, oh, I'm done with that. Like,
Here's some bagels.
yeah, here's some bagels and some coffee, sir. Ultimately, it's like, dude, let's go fucking hang out and get to know each other. And if
Go
we
play some golden tea, have
Yeah.
a couple beers.
yeah, and if we're cool, like we don't even have to work together. But at least I know you now, and we're
Yeah.
cool, right? That's how it works.
If the
so.
opportunity ever comes up down the road and you think about me, then cool.
Yeah.
Otherwise, let's grab a beer next Thursday.
You know how many like meetings I've been on, and the person has just been such a douche, like an insurance guy, and like, hey, so I do this, and I don't care about any of that, dude. Who are you, and what do you do, and how's your family? Are you a good human?
Everything that comes out of their mouth
Right.
is very calculated and
Yeah,
rehearsed.
dude. You're like, you feel the sales pitch just
Yeah, I was
being.
going to say
hate
the
that.
super sales.
Yeah,
that you have.
it's
Oh
like,
my
oh
God.
yeah, shut the fuck up,
Bro, hang it up and go be a politician.
Yeah, bro. It's like I'm so sick of fake people, and there's a lot of that in our business. Anyways, that's me.
Yeah, so that's always that's my big advice to new agents.
Yeah.
Go out. I mean, no offense, but lenders, I mean, like I must get like 3 calls like, so and so would like to take you out for a cup of coffee, and I'm just like, well, that didn't sound like wine. So
yeah, dude. Like,
first of all, no.
You don't know. You don't really understand what we're talking about. Yeah.
I'm just like, you got that wrong.
And everybody's
already.
trying to get like we get a lot of calls from like insurance companies and
Oh,
like
sure.
title companies, right? So it's like the
Lately
same
it's
thing.
But people just dropping in.
Oh, dude, that's like we
And our
we-
office is very hard to find.
Our office
Yes,
is
it is.
by
'cause
design.
I would have been here earlier.
Yeah, no, this
this
is
is
not
our
our
office.
office. This is not our office.
Our office is way harder to find than this.
Yeah, ours is really hard. We're downtown Royal Oak, but yeah, we'll have people just come in and be like, "Hey, And I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Who are you? Yeah, but it happens. But, and I always appreciate that. I think if anybody like comes into the office, I'm like, cool, let's see if you're cool. And usually they're pretty cool, right? But if people are hustling, I don't have a problem with that. It's just when you're a douchebag that I don't like it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
all right, so we're running out of time. So we do this thing called 3 questions on all our shows. So the first question is always the same. What scares Beth Little?
What scares me?
Mm-hmm.
I really hate making phone calls.
Really?
Yes.
That scares you?
It scares me.
Really?
Sometimes I'm like, oh, what if I just don't say the right thing?
Yeah.
But I get over it and put my big girl panties on, make it happen.
Yeah. Big girl panties. Okay. All right. That's interesting. If you could spend a week in somebody else's body, who would it be and why? Yeah. Yeah. You just a full week and you're just living in their skin.
Somebody else's
Having
body.
their experiences, what they would do in their body.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Scarlett Johansson, so I could be like a super ninja.
Scarlett Johansson. I
Yeah.
would be her for different reasons. She's hot. She's so hot. Have you ever seen? She was in this movie called Skin. Or
No.
It's very, very, very weird. She's like a
Yes, it's a Scottish sci-fi horror film.
yeah. She's just driving around.
It's very specific.
It is. It's
I
legitimate.
will say things about me. I'm actually pretty weird.
Yeah.
That's why I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty
I like a
specific.
lot of weird fiction,
So do I.
sci-fi horror
Yeah.
kind
So
of thing. Like
so-
I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
So I was
Do you
watching.
listen to podcasts?
Yeah. Oh, I used to listen to the H.P. Lovecraft literary podcast religiously.
Wow.
Whole
Nerd
thing,
alert.
twice.
Nerd alert.
Total nerd. Yes.
Yeah.
When I was much younger, I used to be a hardcore goth girl.
Really?
Mhm.
God.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hanging out
okay.
at City Club. All
The
that
City
other-
Club.
Oh yeah.
boy. All right. You don't know. You're
No, I don't
too
know
young
that.
for that. Interesting. Okay.
Plus, I didn't grow up here.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
well,
you
you have,
sweet summer child.
yeah. You have no idea. He grew up in the UP, just so you know.
Mm.
So that's why he's the way he is.
That would explain the skin.
What's wrong with my
God,
skin?
You got a lot of problems, man.
Holy
You got a lot
fuck.
of problems with your skin. If you weren't doing real estate, what would you do? If you could pick any other profession in the world and you could be successful at it, what would you do?
Be independently wealthy and
That's not a
That's not a
profession.
fucking profession, dude.
hey, you asked if I could be doing anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So-
Nothing. You'd be do nothing.
I would, but no, I couldn't do nothing. I would go mad. I don't know. I'd probably be volunteering
Yeah,
a lot.
that's
so
awesome. That's
With the
awesome.
more time, being independently wealthy, I could do that.
Yeah. What would you do if you weren't doing mortgages? Set up,
Tinker.
Brad? Tinker?
Yeah, work on engines, woodworking, stuff with my hands.
Oh man, you're such a weirdo. This,
was-
by the way, Brad figured out how to do Rubik's cube and like memorize like algorithms. Now he can like do it in like 3 seconds. He did it in like a week, and I'm like,
It
this
is.
is really odd.
It's like a day and a half.
How interesting that is. But he's also a very odd person.
Yeah.
I would personally just want to travel, so I'd want to like be like an airline pilot. That'd be cool.
Ugh, no.
No.
No?
That wouldn't
No,
be
I hate
cool.
flying.
Yeah, I don't like flying either. I'd want to do something cool. I'm not that cool though. So Beth, tell the audience how they can get a hold of you.
Oh, they can get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Well, they can go to my fancy website at bethlittlhomes.com.
Which, by the way, is a really nice website.
Yes.
Your guy did a good job.
Mhm.
Make sure, obviously, the SEO is on point on that, but you're
Mhm.
very good on that. So Beth Little Homes, any other contact information?
You can email me at beth@bethlittlhomes. And then you can also call, text 313-909-5851.
Awesome. Beth, thank you so much for doing the show. God
Absolutely.
bless you. I wish you all the best luck. That's it. That's our show, everyone. Please go
It was
ahead
fun.
and go to irepodcast.com, subscribe, talk to us, and have a good day. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.